Now, growing numbers of women who struggle to breastfeed their babies are turning to the internet for help. However, a recent study in America found that human breast milk sold online can contain dangerous levels of bacteria, and the findings are causing concern for health professionals here in the UK. The Department of Health has told this programme that parents should not buy milk online unless they can ensure it is safe. Cordelia Lynch reports.
Denise Furlish is producing around 1.2 litres of breast milk every day. She says it's more than her 10-week-old daughter Emily needs. So she started donating the rest through an online breast milk exchange.
I thought rather than throwing it away, I'd really like to give it to someone, because I know that some people struggle breastfeeding or for some reason haven't got enough milk. So I found this website and I just posted a little ad and said, I've got too much. If someone wants it, please send me an email, and then we'll see. The first woman that got back to me, a baby needs a heart operation in 2 months and needs to put on quite a bit of weight, and she hasn't got enough breast milk, so I gave her quite a bit.
In America, a cottage industry has sprung up through sites like Only the Breast, and it's spread to the UK. Some women are selling their milk for up to £15 for 4 fluid ounces, posting adverts promising they have a healthy baby and lifestyle. Denise donates it and insists on meeting people first.
Once they email me, I just check that they are genuine. So I asked that lady for the birth certificate and a photo of the baby. And then I gave her my phone number as well, so she could contact me, and then we arranged how she could pick it up, or in that case it had to be delivered because she couldn't leave the house.
But those checks aren't enough to fully protect babies. The market is unregulated and the risks can be high. A recent study of breast milk bought from 2 popular sites in America showed high levels of bacteria. Of 101 samples tested, 3 contained salmonella and 64% were contaminated with the bacteria Staphylococcus, which can cause serious infections. 74% also failed the milk bank criteria, a closely regulated system of donating milk that's been running in hospitals for decades.
Okay, so this is the end of the special heat treatment that we give the milk.
Gillian Weaver is head of Britain's oldest milk bank.
The staff in the laboratory will let us know how many bacteria grow in the milk and what sort.
Unlike the internet, it only provides for sick babies. But the milk is pasteurised and donors are carefully screened.
Every single container has a unique ID number, and from that we can trace back to the donor.
She, like many in her field, is worried about the growing trend in milk being sold online.
If the milk isn't stored correctly at the right temperatures, if it's transported over a long period of time and the milk gets the opportunity to warm up, then that increases the risk. And a mother who is buying milk over the internet has no idea the conditions in which that milk was collected and stored.
Other people may not notice that you're breastfeeding.
But many women feel under pressure, with campaigns telling them breast is best.
And some mums feel very strongly about the perceived benefits of breast milk or the perceived risks of formula feeding, and they have to make their own choices.
Milk banks can't provide for everyone, and there's only 17 in the UK. The internet isn't limited, and neither are the risks. It's unclear how big the market in milk is in Britain, but next week, health professionals from across Europe will meet to discuss what they can do to tackle the issue.
Well, joining me now is Dr. Charlotte Faircloth from the Centre of Parenting Culture Studies at the University of Kent. There's clearly a demand.
Yeah.
I mean, should the milk bank be scaling up to meet the demands of just ordinary parents who feel they need this, rather than the premature babies that the milk bank normally cases for?
Yeah, I mean, I think what the report really sort of made quite clear is that there's a big difference between milk banks, which, you know, provide milk usually for sick babies, premature babies, and that milk is very sort of well regulated and screened, and this kind of more open market, which is, you know, sort of an unknown. Now, obviously, there is a demand, and obviously, for a lot of people, how they feed their baby has become a very important part of parenting, and particularly motherhood. Now, it's wonderful if people want to, you know, donate milk, and I can sort of see why there is this demand for it from parents. I suppose my concern is, as a sociologist, I should say, I'm not a scientist, that this is just sort of part of a growing kind of fetishisation of breastfeeding and the importance of breast milk. Now, there is a sort of very, safe alternative that many people use quite happily, which is formula milk, which has become kind of slightly heretical to say.
Well, it has become heretical, and people feel very strongly about this.
They do,
I mean, they believe that your academic organisation, has an agenda. Some of them, and people feel very strongly that it's not as simple as saying it's perfectly safe to go off and get formula. How are you supposed to negotiate? How can you negotiate the evidence, the scientific evidence, if you're trying to take these decisions?
Well, I think, and it's very difficult because parents are, swamped with so much information these days, but there is fairly good evidence that in a developed country like the UK, the differences between breastfed and formula-fed infants is actually fairly marginal. So the Kramer study from 2001, for example, showed that for every 25 breastfed babies, there'll be one fewer gastrointestinal infection in the first year. Now, that is a difference that, with formula feeding, but it's a relatively minor one. So
but buying over the internet clearly has a greater risk from those numbers in America.
Well, exactly. It's obviously hard to know not only what the milk might contain, but also, as the report was showing, problems with how it's being transported, stored, those kind of things. So it's obviously slightly more difficult. I mean, I think what I find interesting is that the report really highlights some of the ethical problems we have as humans, I think, about what can and can't be sold. Organs, milk, sperm, eggs. Should people be able to sell parts of their body, sell their body? There's these sort of interesting ethical questions around that. So.
Charlotte Fairclough, thank you very much.